Minas Gerais in southeast Brazil. Running through its heart is the Doce River, its beauty now shattered by an ecological catastrophe. The name of this whole area translates into general mines. Many here will tell you that mining has destroyed them. On the 5th of November 2015, the Fundão Dam holding iron ore mining waste collapsed. It released an avalanche of contaminated waste directly into the path of Bento Rodrigues. In minutes, the village was reduced to ruin. Had the dam burst overnight, the death toll of 19 could have been much greater. It is difficult to imagine the panic that ensued as billions of litres of toxic waste rampaged down this street. People have told us that children were running for their lives, and those left behind didn't stand a chance. Children returning from school were among the dead. These mothers are now united in their grief. Sisters-in-law Pamela and Priscilla were also neighbours. They took me to the spot where their homes once stood.
Era da minha casa. Tem pedacinho aqui, tem pedacinho ali.
After hearing the dam had burst, Priscilla rushed to her brother next door. Can you describe what you remember about that day?
Quando eu saí na porta, que eu olhei sentido ali assim, eu só via poeira, eu não via nada. Eu vi uma poeira muito forte.
Clinging to her son, she remembers trying to help her 5-year-old niece Manu, pleading with her to hold on.
Quando eu falei assim, eu não vi ela.
The force of the tidal wave ripped off Priscilla's clothes. She and her son survived, but she was pregnant and she lost her unborn baby.
Andei, fui lá para cima, bem lá para cima e dentro da lama, muito carro, muitas coisas me batendo, me socando dentro da lama e eu não conseguia falar porque a garganta estava cheia de barro.
Pamela had been studying away from the village. She tried frantically to reach home, running barefoot towards the tsunami of mud. Her 3-year-old son, Nicholas, saved himself by clinging to her car, but her daughter was missing. Alongside other survivors, Pamela waited for an agonising 5 days before learning Manu had died.
Rolou na lama muito tempo. Eu não faço a mínima ideia do que foi para ela, sabe? Ela ter chamado mamãe, papai, tipo assim, a gente não estava lá, gente.
Manu's injuries were so traumatic, Pamela was not able to see her body.
Parece que quando colocou o caixão lá dentro do túmulo, estava arrancando um pedaço do meu coração, parece que estava indo junto. Eu tentava, não, gente, não leva, não faz isso comigo. E foi aí que acabou. Eu nunca mais eu vi minha filha, nunca mais eu fui a mesma.
And it is very important to you that your unborn child is recognised as the 20th victim of this disaster.
Não são 19, são 20.
They believe greed led to this disaster and that the operators of the Fundão Dam San Marco, their parent companies Vale and the part British-owned BHP, ignored safety warnings and instead prioritised profit. The sisters want the parent companies to take their share of responsibility for so many ruined lives. They are among nearly 700,000 claimants bringing a lawsuit in the UK. Residents had raised concerns about their dam. They'd asked for sirens to be put in. There was no plan if anything went wrong with that dam. Did that ever worry you?
Eu participava das reuniões direto que tinha na escola, eu participava. E o pessoal da comunidade falava, perguntava sempre se a barragem se a gente estava seguro, se não tinha perigo dela se romper. Eles sempre falaram que não, que a gente estava seguro.
Gilvana showed me where her 7-year-old son used to go to school, where he played with friends just hours before he was swept away. His lifeless body was recovered more than 60 miles away.
A dentista dele tinha carga dentária, que foi reconheceu que era verdadeiramente ele. A partir daquele momento, minha vida acabou, sabe? E até hoje, estou nessa luta por justiça.
What will victory in the UK courts mean to you?
É a única coisa que me dá esperança. É a única coisa que me dá esperança.
Almost a decade on from the disaster, a new Bento Rodrigues is almost finished. This is part of a $5 billion compensation package overseen by Renova Foundation on behalf of the mining giants. They say over £2 billion has been paid directly to more than 430,000 people. 450 properties have been rebuilt and 90% of resettlement cases have been completed. But there is an eerie quiet in these streets, a world away from the Bento of old. And the devastation caused by this disaster is felt far beyond Bento Rodrigues.
Let's go.
Yeah. Contaminated waste poured down the River Dose, reaching communities stretching along this riverbank. Joelma takes me to an island where she farmed. She says her whole way of life changed following the dam collapse.
O meu alimento, o peixe, desde então, nunca mais eu nadei, nunca mais eu comi peixe do rio.
She has to dig deep to find soil suitable for farming.
Porque antes as plantas eram as plantas vívidas, com qualquer coisinha, rapidinho era só água. Era só água, não precisava de mais nada. Eles jamais conseguirão reparar o dano que causou às nossas vidas. Não tem dinheiro que pague o que eles fizeram com nós. Tem que cortar tudo, viu, Zé?
BHP says it is false to claim the mud was toxic. They cite analysis from the Geological Survey of Brazil that did not show an increase in metals that could contaminate the water, although this is contested in other scientific reports. And 200 miles from the dam collapse, further along the River Dose, we reach the indigenous Krenak community. For centuries, they coexisted with the river. They relied on it to feed their families, to make a living, for fresh water. But above all, to them it is sacred.
Então sempre a gente estava no rio, a gente estava pescando, a gente estava caçando, a gente estava brincando. Tudo era no rio.
BHP says environmental rehabilitation efforts show water in the affected areas is now of the same quality as it was before the dam failure. Other biologists and those who live here dispute this.
Você via os peixes mortos boiando, alguns que ainda que estavam morrendo, tentando se debater. E doía na gente, ainda dói até hoje, né? O rio, ele faz parte da identidade do povo Krenak. O povo Krenak, ele se autodenomina, se é conhecido por si mesmo, ele como o Borum do Atu. E o Atu é o rio, então ele faz parte da identidade do povo Krenak. Então,
BHP, San Marco and Vale told us they remain committed to providing reparations for the people and environment affected by the damage caused by the Fundão Dam. Both BHP and Vale insist this is being done via the Brazilian justice system and the continuing work of the Renova Foundation. It is almost impossible to articulate the scale of this disaster. Ultimately, the High Court in London will decide what part, if any, a British company played in one of Brazil's worst environmental disasters, and the world will be watching. Regardless of the outcome, innocent people have lost children. Others have lost their homes. And some have lost their entire way of life.